because of the sense of touch, it is trapped. And what else is left now? Taste. Taste, very famous example. People, in fact, go to do this so much. They do fishing. What is fishing actually is? Fish is trapped by the sense of taste. The bait, the hook. There is something which is on that hook, and it becomes, oh, I think this is dangling for so long. I think nothing is there. I will try to bite it from side, and it doesn't. It becomes so hooked onto that the sense object, because the taste is so this thing. It gets caught, and the hook goes deep in, and it's pulled out from the water. Just see how each one of the senses, for different animals we spoke, as one of the devotees was just now pointing, for humans, all of the senses are fully active. How much he has to be cautious. In the shloka number 67, it is told that a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water. Similarly, the senses can sweep away the mind. Be very, very vigilant, O Arjuna. Like that Krishna told in 68, be very controlled in your senses, restrained from sense objects. And now he's going to speak further principles. Let's go to them. So those principles I listed because you have to write an essay. I'm giving you quite many pointers. Do not vaguely write answers. Your answers have to be very well informed from Gita. They have told this section to this section. And the pointers are given. You have to explain in your own words. Okay? Very, very important. Explain those principles, what you have understood, in your own words. Okay? So let us go to shloka number 69. Very interesting shloka. Krishna gives a very nice example here. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam.
Ya nisha sarva bhutanam.
Tasyam jagarti samyami.
Tasyam jagrati samyami.
Yasyam jagarti bhutani.
Yasyam jagrati bhutani.
Anisha pashyato mune.
Pashyato mune.
The nisha means
night, rat.
Right. Nisha. Aha means day. Nisha means night. So nisha. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam. What is night for all the jivas? Tasyam jagarti samyami. Samyami means one who does samyama. What does it mean?
Controlled.
One who is a yogi. One who is controlling the senses. For a transcendentalist, he knows the importance of controlling senses. So what is night for the jivas in general, all the jivas, is the time when a yogi is awake. Jagarti is jagrat, is awake. And yasyam jagrati bhutani, when all the jivas are awake, jagrati, when they are jagrat, like sometimes they do jagaran. I've heard that in Shivratri, I think they do jagaran.
Durga Puja.
Durga Puja also, is it? Okay. It's very soon coming. So Jagrati means to be awake. So when all the jivas are awake, this Muni, this Samyami, the same word, for him it is Nisha. He's sleeping. What does this mean? That means he's like an owl or what? That he sleeps when all others are awake and he's awake when all others are sleeping. So it's a very interesting analogy which Prabhupada explains. Read the translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
Introspective sage. The sage, the self-control, they all mean the same type of person. Sthita prajna. Or for us, practicing devotee. We all should try to become that self-control. So Prabhupada tells in the purport about some different types of people. Read this.
Yes, Prabhuji. There are two classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activities, for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for person materially absorbed.
So what does this mean, that they are night for persons materially absorbed? Can someone please explain it? It's like a metaphor kind of a thing. It's not literal in that sense.
Yes, Prabhuji, it's not about the day and night of the material things, but it's about the mind, actually, our activities, what they are doing.
Yes. So the difference between materialist, people in general, and a spiritualist is like day and night. There is so much difference. Externally, they may look same. They may act. Their actions may appear same, but actually, in their consciousness, the difference is like day and night, black and white. It's so different. So, what is it that a person of this world, materialist, what does he aim for in his life? He aims for sense gratification. And what does a person who is practicing spiritual life aim for? He aims for self-realization. So basically it means the self-realization and sense gratification are opposite poles. They are like black and white. So when they are practicing, there is a lifestyle to each of their goals, is it not? A person who is practicing, who keeps sense enjoyment, sense gratification as his main goal of life. Let me get more and more wealth, more and more enjoyment, more and more comforts, and let me be called that topmost. Like Krishna will speak that in 16th chapter later. So such a person, his lifestyle, his thoughts, his actions are all of a different kind. For a person who is pursuing self-realization, his thoughts, his actions, in fact, his lifestyle is different. Sometimes you can even understand this verse literally. People who aim for sense gratification, they are up all the night, is it not? And the mornings, they are sleeping. And the early mornings, a spiritualist, he knows that's the best time for spiritual practice. So he gets up. That's when all others are sleeping. Even literally also you can say this verse, is it not? I remember when I was studying and trying to chant Hare Krishna, I used to get up morning. That's the time I would see my other roommate who had a whole night off. He was going to sleep. And people would always say, your room's light is always on. So it is like that actually. We can appreciate it when we are among such people and we are also pursuing our goal very sincerely. So Prabhupada says this. Why is Krishna saying this? Because we have to practice that lifestyle. And though it looks very different from the majority of the world, we have to understand what is the goal and we have to practice it. And that needs knowledge. And Krishna is saying that. So Prabhupada says here, the sage feels transcendental. Can you read this, Mataji? The sage feels.
Yes, Prabhuji. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture. Whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialist happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reactions.
So his main goal is self-realization. No matter what comes in the way, he just continues pursuing that goal. That's the important thing. So Prabhupada highlights that. And the consciousness of a person who has attained this state is told in Shloka 70, very beautiful analogy. Actually, I like this analogy personally. In this chapter, is one of the most beautiful analogy actually. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham.
Apuryamanam achala pratishtham.
Samudramapa pravishanti yadvat
Samudramapah pravishanti yadvat
tadvad kamayam pravishanti sarve
tadvatkamayam pravishanti sarve
Sashanti mapnoti na kama kami.
Sashantim apnoti na kamam.
So it's told for a person who is actually pursuing spiritual life, apuryamanam. Like you have heard this word purna. Purna means full.
Complete.
Is it not? Complete. Apurna. Yeah, apurya means so full. It's like to the superlative. Apurya. So the person who is practicing spiritual life, he's so full in his consciousness and he's achala pratishtham. Achala. He's fixed. He cannot be shaken up. Why is it that he has become so hard-hearted, or he doesn't understand, he doesn't have response to the material experiences? Not like that. It's not that he doesn't have response to experiences of this world. He has, but his experience or consciousness of spiritual world is so deep, so great. The example is given to be samudra. It's so big, like an ocean. Like in an ocean, why the samudra is told? Very interesting. An ocean, it's so big. There cannot be any bigger water body than an ocean. But interestingly, all the rivers, lakes, everything finally goes into ocean, right? Continuously water is going from the land to the ocean. That means so much of water is coming into the ocean. Usually, unless a natural calamity is there, an ocean doesn't cross its boundary. It doesn't cross its maryada. That's the word used actually. Actually, sometimes Lord Rama is compared to an ocean. He also doesn't cross his maryada. Very big, very, like Krishna, Karuna Sindho. Sindhu means ocean. Ocean of mercy. So he's so big, so long, so deep. The consciousness of a person pursuing spiritual life, when he's attaining perfection, it is so big and so deep that no matter how much rivers water come in, it doesn't exceed in its boundaries. What does the river mean here? Any of you can guess? What does the rivers mean? The river water.
It's a desire, Prabhuji.
Very interesting. Correct. What type of desire, Mataji?
Material
Material desire. So the desires related to the body, they may come when a person is practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting her, especially while chanting, we can observe all kind of desires come in the heart. But a person who has developed spiritual consciousness, he's not affected. No matter how many material desires. I mean, he knows this desire is not going to give me happiness. Even if I try, actually a devotee loses faith on material desires. He understands this desire, how much I have tried, life after life I have tried. This life I have tried so much. Has it given me proper peace, permanent peace? It is only taking me from one sense object to another sense object to another and another, giving me more and more misery due to attachment, frustration, disappointment, be it with things, be it with the people. Is it not? So he has understood this by knowledge. This is Buddhi Yoga, is it not? He knows the knowledge. So he has lost the faith in material desires. The desires are coming because this body is there, some purva karma is there. The desires will come as a reaction of past, but he doesn't act on those desires. He has understood that these are not going to give me happiness. He has lost the inclination to pursue the material desires. So this example which Krishna has given is so wonderful actually. It gives a great hope. Even in sadhaka life, when one develops such consciousness, one need not become very discouraged. Oh, just see how much sense desires are coming. I'm chanting Hare Krishna for many years, but still sense desires are coming. I think I should leave it. No, that's not the point. The desires are going to come till
That
the
determination should be there, Prabhuji.
determination.
That
should be there.
determination is
And
very important.
one should be having that depth in Krishna consciousness, that fixity in Krishna consciousness. He should have that faith and conviction in Krishna consciousness, and he should also understand how these material desires are not going to give me the true happiness. That he should understand. So it's told samudram apaha pravishanti yadvat, like a samudra. The apaha means water. It is entering, so much water is entering, but samudra is it's full. It doesn't exceed its boundaries. Similarly, tadvad kamayam pravishanti sarve. Kama means material desire. Still, this person, he doesn't show disturbance. He's sa shanti mapnoti. He has perfect peace. Not a person of this world who is kama kami, who is trying to satisfy his material desires. Such a person will be disturbed. But this person, he will have perfect peace. Though he is not fully pure, but he has developed that depth in Krishna consciousness. Read the translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enters like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strive to satisfy such desires.
I request, can anyone just explain this analogy in your own words?
Can I try, Prabhuji?
Try. Yes, any of you. Yes, one of you. Very important. This is for as a part of this chapter. It's an important point, and also for your exam too. Yes, please.
How the ocean, even though many rivers are entering into the ocean, the ocean is filled with more water, but it is always in the same form, same. In the same way, even devotees, like a river, many desires will come to the devotees, but devotees should develop more desires for Krishna.
What desires will come and what desires he should develop? Can you be clear?
Desires, material desires will come, Prabhuji, but to overcome the material desires, we should be determined that we have to we have more desires for Krishna consciousness.
Yes. So the essential quality which is common is not disturbed by the inner flow, the flow from outside into inside. That's the essential common quality. So very interesting.
Like Sthitadir Muni only, no, Prabhu?
Yeah. It's all quality of Sthitadir Muni. No? It's all continuing.
If we start observing daily, we can observe, Prabhuji, many material desires.
Many.
No.
Correct.
Before coming to Krishna consciousness, I never noticed that material desires. But now, even one material desire is coming, I can identify that material desire, and I'll try to overcome that material desire.
Yeah. So that's the first stage. That's called awareness. Where what's happening with me, with my mind. So we are becoming aware. What type of? Earlier we were so unconscious. We did not even know whether this is desire, proper or improper, whether it's from mind or from soul or Paramatma. We did not even knew. Now we are understanding that. That's an advancement. Yeah.
I'm one shepherd among all the shepherds at that time.
We all are, Mataji. We all are, and we are all now by Prabhupada's this knowledge which he has given. We are becoming aware, and now Prabhupada is also showing what all lays ahead in the path. Can you please read the purport's highlighted point?
Yes, Prabhuji. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, it is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness.
Fullness, that's the word. Fullness. The ocean is full. The devotee's consciousness is full. So Prabhupada says, can you read this? Therefore, he is like
the ocean, always full in himself. Desire may come to him like the water of the rivers that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities, and he is not even slightly disturbed by desire for sense gratification. This is the proof of Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present.
So this is a point, important point. See, it's not that, yes, at the perfect state, all material desires are practically fully eliminated. One doesn't desire anything but Krishna. But even before that, one can experience the positive effects of Krishna consciousness. So much so that even though the material impurities are there, one is already relishing the positive Krishna consciousness. And that gives him such a great impetus that he is easily able to leave all this. He doesn't get affected. Oh, in this world I am there, it's just a circumstantial thing. Soon after this body falls off, he is going to enter Krishna's Leela. So that is the, Krishna is explaining that. Devotees are in perfect peace. They are fully nishkama. This word is used by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Very famous verse. He says, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashanta. All the people of this world who desire bhukti, not bhakti. Bhukti means, any of you know what is bhukti?
Sense enjoyment.
That means
to enjoy, basically. Bhukti. Mukti means liberation. And siddhi, that means some perfection of which is related to this world. Siddhi is mystic perfection. Those who desire this are all ashanta, because they are desiring something. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Sakal Ata Eva Shanta. Krishna Bhakta, who he doesn't desire any of this. He doesn't desire material enjoyment. He doesn't desire liberation. He doesn't desire any material perfection. He desires only to serve Krishna. That way he is always peaceful. In this shloka, it is told, Sa Shantimap. And for that, Prabhupada has told here, the fruity workers, the salvationists, and the yogis are all unhappy. But person in Krishna consciousness is truly happy. That's the explanation Prabhupada is giving from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So at the end, Krishna comes to the final words in this explanation of Sthita Dhirmuniya, Sthita Prajna. He says, what is it that a person should do? Vihaya kaman yah sarvan
Vihaya
Umam charati nispraha Nirmamo nirahankara Sashantim adhikachhati. So he says, Vihaya kaman, renouncing, giving up all the desires for sense enjoyment, which are all, so many desires are. In fact, practically all the desires which a conditioned soul has is all sense enjoyment, is it not? So leaving away those desires, one should charati. Charati means to walk. Now remember the fourth question of Arjuna was, how does he walk? Is it not? How does he speak? How does he
sit? How does he walk?
How does he walk? So he is telling also in that same way, charati. He walks in this world nispraha, without any material desires. He conducts in this world nirmama nirahankara. Like there is this word aham mama. From where comes ahankar, mamakar. And Krishna is opposing them by telling nirahankara nirmama. So not a sense of false ego and not a sense of false possession. Mama means possession. Mama, mine. Ego means I. Mama means mine. Is it not? So leaving away this false thinking, nirahankara, nirmama, and then he attains Sham. Krishna again pointing out the peace as a result of such a consciousness. Read the translation.
A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from the desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace.
So in one sense, Krishna told, give up all desires. One may say that means all desires one should remove. It should practically be like a stone which doesn't desire anything. It doesn't have any sense of proprietorship, sense of ego. Then it's practically like a jadavastu, is it not? An inert being. Prabhupada says, oh, not necessarily. In fact, the true desirelessness, Prabhupada says, can you read this? What I have highlighted.
Yes, Prabhuji. To become desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. In other words, desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actually desirelessness.
Actually desirelessness. So, when we desire to please Krishna, that is the real desirelessness. Everyone knows this famous statement, desire is the cause of suffering. Who said it?
Buddha.
Buddha said it. Asha hi paramo dukkha. He told it, yeah, that's true. What type of asha? When material desires are there, they are the ones which give one great misery. So one should not desire. That's what Buddha taught. So, but if you see, even to desire not to have desire is also desire. That's how Prabhupada explains it. So one cannot stop desiring because a soul who is a conscious entity, it has to desire. You remember the three symptoms of consciousness: thinking, feeling, and willing. If one doesn't have these three, that means he's practically unconscious or a stone kind of an entity.
Prabhuji, once again repeat them, Prabhuji.
Thinking, feeling, and willing. Prabhupada tells this in that first Sankhya Yoga section. That's how we understand that someone is conscious. Thinking, feeling, and willing. So basically, thinking means intelligence, feeling means that all reflects through different organs of the body, but actually they are coming from soul. And from soul comes consciousness. That consciousness projects through intelligence, thinking, mind, feeling, from the body, willing. Willing means actions. Is this clear? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So consciousness is actually coming from soul. So the soul naturally has desires. One cannot say you don't desire. So, but what one should desire, proper desire, that is to serve Krishna. That is the real desirelessness. So Prabhupada tells this particular purport, very interesting. Arjuna, initially he told that I will not fight. But that was his desire, his personal desire. And Prabhupada says that is his sense gratification. To not fight in the battle for Arjuna, it is actually a sense gratification desire. And Krishna is telling, leave away such desires of sense gratification. That means what? He should leave away desire to not fight. He should fight. That's Krishna's order. That is because by fighting, you are satisfying Krishna. Real desirelessness is to desire satisfaction of Krishna. It cannot be done by abolishing desires. How much we try to negate desires, that much it becomes more. You can always experience this. When you try to do something, when you try not to do something, it becomes so much a part of our consciousness. It completely always keeps coming in our consciousness. Like last time I was telling this, do not think about that blue-faced monkey. I told you this inside. Immediately the mind will think that monkey, blue-faced, I should not think about it. The picture comes and then the negations comes. So the point is, one should actually desire. He should fill his consciousness with the positive desires. That is Krishna consciousness. That is the way to abolish this material desires. So that is real desirelessness. So Prabhupada says that very nicely. So that way, Krishna consciousness is actually desirelessness, and it brings one to the platform of real peace. Concluding his explanation of Sthitadhir Muni, Krishna tells the ultimate result this Sthita Prajna or Sthitadhir Muni attains, which is called Nirvana. Very interesting word. Usually, Buddhists they speak of Nirvana. Is it not? Something like moksha, actually. So Krishna says that. He says about the perfection of a Sthitadhir Muni in 72. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha. I will take question after this. Anyway, we're ending. Nainam Prapya Vimukhyati. Titvasyam Antakalepi. Brahma Nirvanam Richati. So such a person, hey Partha, he attains Brahmi Sthiti. He attains the perfect spiritual situation, perfection of spiritual consciousness. So here Krishna is using a very generic word, Brahmi Sthiti. After attaining Nainam Prapya, he will not become Vimohyati, Nainam Vimohyati. He will not become disturbed. And at the time of death, Antakalepi, after he leaves this body, he will attain Brahma Nirvana. He will attain spiritual perfection. What is that Brahma Nirvana? Prabhupada will explain in this purport. Read the translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God.
So what is that Brahma Nirvana mean?
Kingdom of God.
It's not some impersonal light, some vague description. No, Prabhupada directly points out Brahma Nirvana ultimately means kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, Goloka. So he says that. He in fact says how this consciousness can be attained as soon as a jiva sincerely tries and he desires and he endeavors. Read this. One can attain
Krishna consciousness or divine life at once, within a second, or one may not attain such a state of life even after millions of births. It is only a matter of understanding, accepting the fact.
So there is an example of a great, king, Khatwanga, which is told. You may know this. This is a very, any of you know, please can you, any of you know about Khatwanga, can describe. Any of you know? This story comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, Kavita Mataji, yes, please.
I don't know the details, Prabhu. I've heard about it.
Okay. I thought the hand raises for this. Okay, yeah. So this Khatwanga, this is a great sage. He's actually a great king. His description comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd canto and also in 9th canto. He's coming in the line of Surya Vamsha. He is so powerful that at one point of time he had gone to heaven. He is an earthly king, but he has gone to Swarga to help Devatas in their fight against Asuras. And after helping them, it's the time when the war has ended and Devatas have become victorious. Now he has to come down to earth. And then when he asked, can I go? They told, we are very happy. What can we give you? And he knew anything of this world, be it even heavens, is temporary. I don't want. But I do want to know, very important thing. I do want to know how much time I have before death. And they told, According to heavenly time, you have only one kshana. It's very less. And that's when he immediately understood, oh, I don't have much time before death. And he comes to earth where the time is longer, because you may know that time relativity is there across the higher domains. So when he comes, he has one muhurta, that is 48 minutes. So Srimad Bhagavatam describes that this one muhurta, he knew what to do at the end of life. He practiced Krishna consciousness very sincerely, holy names, chanting, remembering Krishna, and he attained perfection. He attained perfection. So Prabhupada says here, Khatwanga Maharaj attained the state of life just a few minutes before his death by surrendering unto Krishna. So one may note this here. The important point is when can one attain perfection? Is it that one needs to practice life after life after life and he's not yet sure? Not necessarily. What is important is one should sincerely desire and put his sincere effort. And when one puts effort, Krishna, ultimately, he is the one who is going to take one ahead. We cannot decide perfection on our own. It is Krishna who grants that perfection. So it is told here, for the gross materialist. Can you read this? For the gross materialist, there is nothing beyond death. It has, I have to now end my.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very fearful, yeah.
For the gross materialistic, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic way of life. But for persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life. Before ending this life, if one fortunately become Krishna conscious, he at once attain the stage of Brahma Nirvana.
Brahma Nirvana. So, for a person of this world, death is something which is always a great fear. He's awaiting, my God, maybe death will come now, maybe death will come tomorrow, don't know. But for a devotee, for a spiritualist, he is planning for something beyond this body. Even if he is attaining perfection, I have to attain that perfection wherein I can go to the kingdom. So he attains that consciousness even before leaving the body. And when he leaves the body, he naturally goes to that state because he is already prepared. So Prabhupada says, very interestingly, attainment of Krishna consciousness.
Attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is immediate attainment of Brahman, and one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God.
So the point is, one should develop that consciousness. Sometimes we say it's all a question of consciousness. Spiritual world is also a question of consciousness, state of consciousness. Say, right? What does it mean? When one actually has developed that consciousness, which is compatible with that, situation, spiritual world, then one can be transported to that situation. So that's why one should develop that consciousness. Even while living in this body, it is possible. So this is explained. And of course, Prabhupada says that Brahmi Sthiti, which is considered as liberation, is very natural for a devotee. So concluding because this is the last purport in this chapter, Prabhupada says that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he told this chapter as Contents of Gita Summarized. That's the title Prabhupada has given. Traditionally, it is called Sankhya Yoga, but it's called Contents of Gita Summarized. Very importantly, why? Because it's talking about several topics which are spread throughout the Bhagavadgita. It's like all of them summarized in this one chapter. In the very beginning, it is given. It's like a synopsis. It's like a contents page. It's there in the very beginning. So that's why very aptly Prabhupada, following Bhaktivinoda Thakur, gave the title as Contents of Gita Summarized. Very nice title which is given actually. So this completes the second chapter. Very important chapter, very long chapter. You may have noted this. So there are many topics which was discussed in this particular chapter. Let's quickly review them and understand what all flow. So in the beginning, we saw Arjuna surrendering to Krishna as a disciple. That was the first section. And when Krishna takes the role of the spiritual master, the first instruction he gives is about the difference between body and soul, which is called jnana or sankhya. And that defeats what argument of Arjuna? When he told he will not fight, he gave many arguments. The first argument which Arjuna gave is
First was compassion.
bodily compassion, misplaced compassion. That is defeated, refuted by Krishna in his very first instruction. Then the second set of instructions which Krishna gives is called karma kanda. For material enjoyment, one should perform prescribed duties. And that defeats second argument of Arjuna. What is that?
Enjoyment. Loss of enjoyment.
Loss of enjoyment. You will not lose enjoyment, but if you fight, you will in fact gain enjoyment. It defeats that this thing. Then the third set of instructions which Krishna gives is called Buddhi Yoga. Very important. Working in knowledge. Earlier there was knowledge, and then there was work described. Then work in the knowledge of soul, that was described. So this Buddhi Yoga defeats which argument?
Fear of
sinful reactions.
Fear of sin. By Buddhi Yoga, actually you will not get any reactions because you are working in knowledge. And then there was Arjuna's question about Sthita Prajna. That was the last discussion. So there are three set of instructions which Krishna has spoken, and it ended in the Sthita Prajna section. That concludes the second chapter. Today we also have to enter third chapter. We will do that. If there are any comments or questions, yes. Yes.
Prabhuji, yes, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, what is the origin of desires? Is it subtle body? Does soul have anything to do with
It's
desire?
the soul. It's the soul. It's the soul.
Even material desires?
Actually, how material desires are stemming? Material desires are stemming because of a mistaken identity. When the soul identifies as body, it desires thinking it is body. That is material desire. Actually, desire comes from soul only.
But soul is Anandamaya Bhyasatma.
Correct. It's enveloped. See, the desire of the soul comes through different mediums. The soul is there. The covering above it, the very first covering above it is false ego. Is it not? When that ego, what does ego do? It makes the soul identify as matter, body, is it not? And that is what perverts the desires. The spiritual desires is perverted into material desire. The ananda, desire for happiness is there for the soul. But how does it desire now? It desires bodily happiness because he thinks his body.
But ego is a part of subtle body, no Prabhu.
Correct.
Soul, just the soul without any covering is pure.
Yes, that's pure, correct.
So false ego covering the soul gives us desire.
Yes. The material desires are nothing but the desires of the soul coming through the covering of false ego. When the soul misidentifies, the desires of the soul become material desires. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Prabhuji, what is the significant difference between false ego and illusion? Are they two different things, or they have something in?
Illusion, actually, you're talking about illusion means an experience, something which is outside the soul. False ego is a covering on the soul. And the jiva, which is actually seeing the material world, which is external to it, which is temporary, but it considers it permanent. So it considers an object to be what it is not. That is what we call as Maya or illusion. So it's a wrong perception. Illusion is what? It's a wrong perception. Why that is coming? Because the soul is covered by false ego, material intelligence, material mind, all that makes it wrongly perceived. It's a perception, it's an experience, is it not? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
But
false
actually
ego.
yeah.
So the false ego is that I am not this, I am this body.
I am this body. Yes.
That is false ego.
Correct. False ego is an identity, a wrong identity.
False identity.
False identity. Correct.
And
By
through this
controlling-
false identity, whatever I perceive is illusion.
Yeah. Illusion. See, when we say illusion, the devotees, the devotion, the Vedantists, sometimes there is some people who consider illusion means practically false or mithya.
Mithya.
But for followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, illusion means it's temporary. In fact, the Vaishnava Vedanta, it doesn't say world is false. It says world is temporary. Okay, this is something which come ahead. I will not explain more on this because it's a very big subject. So when we say that world is false, then it gives a license for doing something, and you're justifying all your actions because it's anyway false. So that's
Right.
a wrong understanding. How can false come from Krishna? Everything comes from Krishna is true. It's temporary. It's not that it is not that it is temporary. That's all. Anyway, this explanation will come in the last 6 chapters very vividly. In the 13th chapter, we will learn it a lot. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah. Yes.
By
yes.
stopping and controlling the senses, we can progress in the spiritual life,
Correct.
and then the soul will be happy.
Correct.
And then false ego will automatically it will go.
Yes, the false
And
ego
the daily-
actually goes by proper spiritual knowledge and actually purification. So when we repeatedly understand that we are servant of Krishna and we do activities of Krishna consciousness, then the true identity dawns. It is awakened actually. You're right, what you told. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So let us enter the 3rd chapter of Gita. I should admit that I am lagging a lot. We have been very slow, and it's
I
a
thought,
matter of
Prabhuji,
concern
we
for
are
me
going very
because
fast.
Very
really,
clearly
my
you are
God,
teaching. We are very happy.
I forget sometimes the flow in the sense of schedule, but I should admit that we are lagging. We should do. I think now all of you have gotten the pace. You've gotten a hold of this versus the style of learning like that. So now we will enter the 3rd chapter. The 3rd chapter, traditionally called as Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga. So what is this Karma Yoga? Krishna will himself explain that. But the summary of the chapter as described in the book itself is given here. Please read this. The summary, everyone must engage.
Everyone must engage in some sort of activity in this material world, but actions can either bind one to this world or liberate one from it. By acting for the pleasure of Supreme, without selfish motives, one can be liberated from the law of karma, action and reactions, and attain transcendental knowledge of the self and the Supreme.
So karma has many, many meanings. Karma, in simple word, means action. Karma also means reaction to the action. Karma also means duty. Karma also means the very system of action and reaction. So there are so many context specific meanings of karma. And Krishna explains all of that in this chapter, Karma Yoga. How one can connect to Supreme by action, Karma Yoga. And it's a very important chapter, very pertinent chapter for devotees, practicing devotees of this world, who are in this world. So Krishna is actually asked a question by Arjuna after this description of Sthita Prajna. In the Sthitaprajna description, there was a shloka. Please flip your pages. Go to shloka number 49. There was a shloka where Krishna told, read that. Someone please read 49 shloka. I'm not showing on the screen. Please directly read from the book.
Durena hi,
Durena. Read the translation.
avaram. Translation.
Read that.
O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers.
So Krishna told that, O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities, avaram karma. And Arjuna thought, yeah, correct. To fight is most abominable. So I should keep all abominable activities far. Krishna is telling him. And in that consciousness surrender, yes, I should not enjoy the fruits of work. And Krishna, just now, we today also read those shlokas. At the end, he kept telling, Sashanti mapnoti. You attain peace, you attain supreme peace, like that. And Krishna is also telling verses where he's telling fight. So it is like, no, it's a confusing, Krishna has told both the instructions, to fight and also to not fight. That's what Arjuna perceived as, It is told, very funnily it is told, when a person speaks, it is told that he speaks, say, some 100 things. It is told only 20 things are caught by the listeners. And God knows which are those 20 things. This is the state of people of this world. Arjuna is a truly proper hearer of the knowledge of Bhagavadgita. But point is, Arjuna is representing conditions. He wants to clarify some confusions which may have come in the readers or hearers so far. Arjuna understands, hey Krishna, he says, Arjuna uvacha, jayasi chet karmanaste, mata buddhir janardana, tat kim karmani ghore, mam niyojayasi keshava. So he's saying, Jayasi. Are Krishna, you told, Karmanaste buddhir jayasi. Better than action is knowledge. You told, hey Janardana. You told Buddhi Yoga. You told knowledge is better than working, And then why are you again pushing me to this Ghora Karma? Why are you telling me to fight? Hey Keshava, you are speaking both type of instructions. It's really confusing. Read the translation. Someone else can take up reading. Someone else can also.
Arjuna, can I read more?
Yes, translation.
Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work?
Actually, what Arjuna thought, there are only two things, two types of action. What are the two types of action? Arjuna thought, there is inaction. I should not fight. And there is fighting, which is sinful action. There are only two options which are seen for Arjuna. What are they? To fight, which is sin. And to not fight, which is inaction. But interestingly, Krishna will in this chapter explain many types of action. Very interesting. That's why this Karma Yoga chapter is very relevant for especially people of this world. He says there is sinful action, first thing. That is, a person, he acts wrongly. Then there is fruitive action. That means a person desires material enjoyment and he acts. Okay, that is called fruitive action. Any of you know what's the Sanskrit name?
Sakam kar.
Sakama karma. Actually, it's called karma kanda. Because he is desiring material enjoyment. No, it's not yoga, sakama karma. It is this. Then there is detached action. which is what is the highlight of this chapter, which is called Karma Yoga. Detached action. There is inaction, that is not to perform only. That is Jnana Yoga. Inaction. Krishna very much says this, he doesn't approve this. Inaction. And lastly, Krishna says Bhakti Yoga, which is a devotional action. That's also action, but it is devotional action. Someone quickly revise this 5.
Sinful activities,
Sinful action, vikarma,
fruitive activities,
karma kanda,
karma kanda, detached activities,
detached activity, that is
karma yoga,
karma yoga, nishkama karma yoga specifically, but karma yoga. Then
and inaction or jnana yoga,
inaction or jnana yoga,
then devotional activities or
that is bhakti yoga. See, just see, in action there could be many motives, is it not? So all these nuances, it's called details. It's very important to know. And the type of consciousness we keep, that while performing action, it actually affects kindly mute.
Mataji, somebody has to mute. Yeah.
So depending on the type of consciousness which a person has for performing action, that also reflects in the consequence. So that will come very vividly here. So Krishna is asked by Arjuna. Let's go to this question. Tell me, you told that intelligence is better than action. Then why you again tell me to fight? He doesn't understand that inaction, sinful action, but there is beautiful or detached action, which is karma yoga. There is devotional action. Krishna talks about these two very much. Read the highlighted, maybe you read this from here, Mataji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter, with a view to delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. And the path of realization has been recommended, Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia, and one with such a misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of the Lord Krishna. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place where one may acquire only cheap adoration from the innocent public.
So, Prabhupada is highlighting a tendency of conditioned soul. When he takes to spiritual life, he thinks spiritual life means I should not perform any action. I don't have any duties of this related to this world. It's a misunderstanding. Even when we come to devotional service, when we understand the importance of devotional activities, then a person may actually, in the name of performing devotional activities, it's told here, the intention of some adoration or respect, he may perform no actions or no duties. That is not healthy, especially when person's heart is not purified. In the times of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this was a great happening actually. There were so many people who were very conditioned, but they were posing themselves as renunciants, and they were practicing externally devotional activities, but internally their heart was not pure, and due to which they were actually engaging in immoral activities. So one should not fall into this misunderstanding. Spiritual life doesn't mean inaction. It actually means action for a spiritual action with a spiritual motivation, spiritual consciousness. And yes, chanting holy names, these are all devotional activities one should do. But one should not withdraw himself to a secluded place with the desire for some followers or respect or like that. In fact, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so heavy on this that he wrote a very famous poem, Dushtamana Tumi Kisera Vaishnav. He tells that in the name of chanting, you are doing kevala cheating, kevala kaikava. So that kind of show off of devotional service is not proper. That's what Prabhupada is highlighting here. Very interesting. Prabhupada puts it in other words here. Very interesting. Read this. Arjuna wanted to
skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna as to his best course of action. In answer, Lord Krishna elaborately explained Karma Yoga, or work in Krishna.
One cannot avoid one's duties in the name of spiritual activities, especially when a person is not pure in his consciousness. So this is something, a great thrust in the whole of Bhagavadgita, especially in the first 6 chapters. This comes again and again and again. This chapter is again repeated in a very deeper meaning in 5th chapter. The whole discussion again comes with a deeper meaning in 5th chapter. Karma Yoga in perfection, Karma Sannyasa. So this tendency is addressed by Arjuna, by Krishna, by speaking Karma Yoga. Arjuna continues his confusion in the next shloka. Vyamishreneva vakyena
Vyamishreneva vakyena
buddhim mohayasiva me
buddhim mohayasiva me
tadekam vada nishchitya
Tadekam vada nishchitya
yena shreyoham apnuyam.
yena shreyoham
apnuyam.
yena shreyoham
Krishna, you have given instructions for both. You're told to fight, and you've also told to not fight. That's what Arjuna understood as. He's expressing his understanding, and he's telling you have spoken equivocal instructions. Vyamishrena. You're not telling what is that one thing I should do. You're not telling Krishna. You're telling, like, sometimes in your own native languages, you will have this phrases, like keeping a lamp on the wall, which gives light on both sides. They have something like that. Means you are not saying the one thing to do. You are telling both. How can I do something based on your words? You are stressing both the sides. Tell me, what is that one thing to do? Tad ekam vada nishchitya. Tell me, what is that one action I should do by which I will get shreya, I will get, ultimate benefit? You are confusing my buddhi mohayasiva me, by speaking equivocal instructions, instructions on both the choices, like that. Read the translation. My intelligence
is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will most beneficial for me.
So Krishna, he spoke many contents, many topics in this earlier chapter, 2nd chapter. So Prabhupada explains. Read from this beginning up till this highlighted point.
This chapter, as a prelude to the Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of the senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and the position of the neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation.
Actually, to say Arjuna, he knows. He is in fact a pure devotee of the Lord. As we know, he has taken up the role of conditioned soul so that we all get benefited. In fact, he wants to clear up any ambiguity, any confusion. People should not say, Hare Krishna told here something, so my actions are justified, though they are not devotional. So Arjuna, he wants to clear this confusion for all the future generations to come. That's the consciousness with which Arjuna asks this question. Although Krishna had no intention of confusion, Arjuna could not follow the process. Whether he should be inactive or should he fight? That's the question. So essentially, the question is whether he should renounce his work or should he work? That's the question. And that question gets answered in this first section of third chapter, which is called renunciation of work or work in devotion. Because that's the question asked by Arjuna. Should I renounce and take the shelter of knowledge and go to forest, or should I act, that is fight this battle? You're saying it's work in devotion. Should I do that or should I renounce? That's the question. So that gets answered in the first 9 shlokas, which is actually telling about Nishkama Karma Yoga. You can mark that. I have not marked it here. And then later Krishna will explain the ladder of yogas in the 10th shloka onwards. So, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, third shloka onwards, Krishna answers. Any of you have any comment or question so far? Okay. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Lokesmin vividha nishtha.
Lokosmin vividha nistha
Pura prokta maya nagha.
prokta maya naha
Jnana yogena sankhyānām.
jnana yogena sankhyana
Karma yogena yoginām.
yogena yogina.
O Arjuna, understand this, O Arjuna, that in this world there are 2 types of people based on their nishtha or faith. Nishtha is an advanced stage of faith. So there are 2 categories of people. This is told by many. This is observed from long. Hey, anagha. Anagha means you have not done any sin, Arjuna. You are pure. That's why he's telling you are anagha. Hey anagha, hey Arjuna, know that there are 2 categories of people in this world. Who are they? Jnana yogena sankhyanam. 2 kinds of people. Actually, 2 kinds of people who are trying for spiritual perfection. He's not talking in general, 2 kinds. 2 kinds of people who are following spiritual path. Who are they? First one is Jnana yogena sankhyānām. Those who see this world with analysis. Like we have seen this word called Sankhya, right? In the 2nd chapter, Sankhya means analysis of matter, spirit. That's called Jnana Yoga. Those who are following Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga, they both mean the same. Though there are subtle differences, but for practical purposes, they are equated. Then the second one is Karma Yogena Yoginam. Then there are others who engage in this world. See, Jnana Yogi people, they disengage. They don't act in this world. And there is Karma Yogis. They actually engage in this world. They have some knowledge and they work with that knowledge. So one who don't engage in this world, called Jnana Yogis or Sankhya Yogis. And second, one who engage in this world, who are called Karma Yogis or in general Yoga. So, read the translation.
Someone else would like to read, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Yes. Someone else, please.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Please read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are 2 classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
Now, very interesting. I would like to highlight this yoga ladder. Though we will describe this more detail and from the 10th shloka onwards. But we will see here, see in this ladder, which is nothing but a progressive step-by-step path. Okay. In this, there is karma yoga, there is jnana yoga. Okay. Actually, to say karma yoga, and it leads to jnana yoga, and from there one goes ahead. That's the one method. That's what we see in this diagram. Also, when one is engaged in karma yoga, he is actually trying to reach higher state. And actually, by practice of karma yoga, one can directly go to bhakti yoga. That will come in the future shlokas. So jnana yoga means one stops actions or duties. Usually in varnashrama, when a person attains sannyasa or vanaprastha, he has attained the state of jnana yoga. Okay, so when a person has attained like sannyasa or jnana or vanaprastha, he is expected to have attained jnana yoga. That means he has performed all his duties, he has gained the knowledge, and then he has renounced the activities based on that knowledge. He has purified his consciousness, that internal purification has come. So Krishna here says what is attempted by jnana yoga is also attempted by karma yoga. In fact, when one does karma yoga properly, he will go directly to bhakti yoga. He can go, that Krishna will explain that. So in that sense, Krishna in this shloka, he says, see here, some are inclined to understand by empirical philosophical speculation. This means which stage of yoga ladder?
Jnana yoga.
Jnana yoga.
And
Jnana.
others in the shloka it is told karma yogena, right? Karma yogena yogina. That is actually karma yoga step. And Prabhupada says he that equates it to devotional service. Like last time I had explained it. He does this. He sees from the ultimate standpoint and he explains it as devotional service. So here in this section, you will see karma yoga is equated to devotional service. Okay. Why? Yeah. Yes. Yes.
The ladder of yoga, Prabhuji, from animal life, one can directly go to bhakti yoga. Prabhu. It's not a sequential process, right?
Animal life, it's a very rare situation. It's actually a great soul's mercy, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. One can go, there is nothing stopping. Okay. But it's a very rare. But this is called as gradual yoga ladder. In fact, later I will show another yoga ladder where an intervention of a devotee comes. Usually, an intervention of devotee, when a devotee is, he's practicing karma kanda or something, or karma yoga. Then when he gets devotional association, then he doesn't need to go through jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. He directly goes from karma yoga to bhakti.
Yeah.
You know? So that version of the yoga ladder will come ahead. I'm not showing it now. So that you don't get
Prabhuji, I have a question, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, at the ladder of karma yoga, is jnana yoga there, or is just the doing of duties as per the
jnana yoga is a step above. When a person doesn't get any association of devotees, what is expected is, okay, he performs his actions or duties in a very dutiful spirit, and he gains detachment, and he becomes purified in heart. Then he renounces. He takes to renunciation. That is jnana yoga. That's a very
jnana yoga.
It's a conventional path. But
so how does one move up to jnana yoga? By reading scriptures and
basically he performs his duties in a very dutiful spirit, and he becomes detached from fruits of his action. These are the two things he does. He does duty, he's not attached to the fruits.
But that's also jnana in itself, right? That you have the jnana
of this kind of action. This is a subject in 4th chapter. This kind of action, which is called Nishkam Karma Yoga, it brings out knowledge. And that becomes the topic of 4th chapter. That's the title itself is like that, right? Transcendental knowledge. And there, how this Nishkama Karma Yogi gets knowledge, and from there, how he progresses. Krishna explains. Okay. Just wait for a little more shlokas. It will become more clear actually. So at this point, we will revisit yoga ladder. All of you, please note this. We will revisit. I'm just taking it so that you understand karma yoga and jnana yoga, those two steps. Okay. So the shloka is telling that there are two methods and two important ways by which people of spiritual path endeavor. One is by engaging in this world in knowledge. Another is by disengaging in this world. That is by empirical philosophical speculation. So this is what Krishna is explaining. So Prabhupada in the purport says, very interesting, both the yogas are interdependent. Very, very important lines of this purport is coming. In fact, he says that both of these are same only, the Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, or Buddhi Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. They are all same only because they are all aiming towards spiritual perfection. Is it not? So in that sense, what is attempted by Sankhya Yoga and what is attempted by Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga are same. The goal is same. This verse will come later. So understanding this, one should not feel confused. In fact, Prabhupada says, read this highlighted part, both the yogas.
Therefore, both the yogas are interdependent as religion and philosophy. Religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism. While philosophy without religion is mental speculation, the ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness.
See,
now
Prabhupada is giving one minute. This was stating. So Prabhupada is bringing a very important comparison here. Very important actually. This is one of the beauty of Prabhupada's purport. He says the difference or the relationship between Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga is like the relationship between philosophy and religion. When we say religion, it means action or rituals. When we say philosophy, it means the thought or the knowledge behind those rituals or actions. Is it not? So religion and philosophy. So what is religion compared to?
Rituals.
Yes, that's true. Religion or ritual is compared to what among the Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga?
Karma Kanda.
Karma Kanda is not a question of discussion here. Is not a subject. Okay. Between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga or
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Please note this. Please pay attention here. Religion is compared with Karma Yoga, action. And philosophy is compared with
Jnana Yoga.
Jnana Yoga. Very simple. What's left out? See, philosophy, religion without philosophy. Now Prabhupada makes it interesting. Religion without philosophy is sentiment. Why are you doing? It's been done by my ancestors, my forefathers, my fathers. I do it. It's a sentiment. It's a tradition. That's all. It doesn't know the knowledge behind it. Sometimes it can become fanaticism. Oh, this is what we should do. This is what you should do. This is what all future generations should do. Why? This is how it should be done. No reasoning. This is what is there to be done. That's all. Fanaticism. And philosophy without religion, that means he has very good knowledge, but he doesn't act on that knowledge. Philosophy without religion means very good thought, but no action, no practical application of knowledge. What is it? Prabhupada says it is mental speculation. Good mental exercise. Wow, very nice. Very good subject of discussion. But what practical application, Baba? No, don't ask. So like this, one without other is incomplete. It's in fact very detrimental. Know that the purpose of religion and philosophy is Krishna, and to take to them. So the Karma Yoga, which looks like only action, and Jnana Yoga, which looks like knowledge, should be accepted together. and you should work in knowledge or work in devotion. So Prabhupada will highlight this. Read this part, last part of these two.
Yes, Prabhu. Of these two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by a philosophical process. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process, and by the direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime.
See, conventionally, in a gradual flow of yogas, karma yoga doesn't mean bhakti. But when a person has got an association of devotees and is doing duties of this world, is doing devotional service, then karma yoga is equated to bhakti, is it not? So there we should highlight this aspect, that it is to be viewed as bhakti only. When we practice bhakti, there is no precondition required for bhakti. Whether it's pure or impure, it is not a necessary situation. Any person, be it impure or pure, can take to bhakti. But for jnana yoga, which is renunciation of action, only a person who is pure in his heart, he doesn't have desires to act in this world, such a person only can take to jnana yoga. So there is a prerequisite condition. There is something necessary for one to take to jnana yoga. What is necessary? What is precondition?
Desireless.
Desire. He should be pure. He should be pure at his heart. He should not have material desires. You see? So jnana yoga cannot be attempted by everyone. Is it not? So sannyasa, that's jnana yoga is sannyasa here. So sannyasa, it cannot be attempted by everyone. Only a person who has performed duties, he has developed the detachment from results, he has developed that knowledge, he can only take to jnana yoga and continue in that path. Is it not? So in that regard, what is better for people in general?
Bhakti yoga.
Karma yoga or bhakti yoga. That is applicable for everyone. And very interestingly, when karma yoga becomes bhakti yoga, it in fact elevates a person without needing jnana yoga. I hope all of you are getting this finer details. So that there is no need of renunciation when karma yoga becomes bhakti yoga. That's the point here. So Krishna will highlight this from this purport. So what is coming from text 4 onwards is work in spirit of devotion or nishkama karma yoga. Okay, so Krishna says, na karmanam anarambhan
Karmanam anarambhan
naishkarmyam purushoshnute
Naishkarmam
Naiškarmyam
purushostate
na cha sanyasanadeva
na cha
न च
sannyasana
संन्यासनादेव
siddhim samadhigacchati.
siddhim samadhi
समधिगच्छति.
Arjuna, hey Arjuna, know this, that just by stopping activities, na karmanam anarambhan. Arambha means to begin. Anarambha means to not begin or to stop. By stopping the activities, one will not attain freedom from reaction or naishkarmya. And similarly, just by accepting sannyas, that is renunciation, one will not attain siddhi. Nacha sanyasanadeva siddhi. Just by doing this, one will not attain success or the goal. There is something very important missing in both. Please read the translation. Not by
merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
Actually, Arjuna was thinking, okay, reactions are going to come, sinful reactions or even pious reactions. Better do not do action only than no reaction. This is what Arjuna thought. But Krishna is telling, there is no option only of not doing action. You have to do action. In a question, say, suppose you have some 3-4 options. Arjuna, you don't have the option of not doing not doing action. You have to do action. Do not think that if I don't want reaction, I will not do action. That option is not there only, Arjuna. You have to act in this world. So Prabhupada interestingly tells about the purport. So now from here you should note this. Prabhupada is going to, in fact, Krishna is going to compare a person who is attached, but he has artificially taken a renunciation. That is one type of person. And a person who is attached, but he is working in this world in the spirit of devotion or duty, in the duty consciousness. This is the second type of person. The first type of person, who is it? First type of person?
A person who has artificially renounced.
Artificially renounced. Very right, Prabhu. And second?
Who's still working in the world and not attached to anything.
No, he may be attached, but he's working in the world. He is honestly understood. He is working in the world. He is not taken to renunciation. So there is, in these shlokas, right from 4 to 9, there is constant comparison between these two people. Who is better? What is the wrong with this person? What is better with this person? Krishna is going to compare this, and he is going to advise something at the end to Arjuna. So Krishna says, Prabhupada says in the purport, read the highlighted part. The renounced order.
The renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of the prescribed form of duties, which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic men.
Materialistic men. Read this thing also. Without purification.
Okay. Without purification of heart, sannyasa is simply a disturbance to the social order. On the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance in the cause is accepted by the Lord. Buddhi Yoga.
Buddhi Yoga. See, in the other hand, for sannyasa, there is a precondition. What is it? Purification of heart. It is necessary for taking sannyasa. Otherwise, sannyasa is just a mockery. It's just a show off. It will not give the promised result. That is the higher step ahead. So, on the other hand, the path of bhakti, the transcendental devotional service to Lord, it is so powerful that even if a person fails to do his duties, but he is taken to bhakti, very interesting. This might be surprising that if a person, he is not able to do his duties, but he has tried to do bhakti, he will never be at loss, because he is doing something which is going to give him eternal result. So doing duties will give purification of heart. Doing duty in the right consciousness, that will give purification of the heart. But doing bhakti directly, that will ultimately reward a person with the ultimate result. So he's progressing ahead. Maybe he will not be able to stick to it because he's not purified his heart. But whatever amount of bhakti he does is an eternal credit for him. In that sense, because this principle is highlighted in Bhagavatam, and that Prabhupada is highlighting here again. So the point here, just to simplify, is that there is no option for you, Arjuna, to not do action. You have to do action. You don't say that I will not do action, that way I will be not getting reaction. That option is not there. Why? Because Krishna says next shloka, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi
Nahi kasyat kshanamapi
jatu tishtatya karmakrit
jatu tishtatya karmakrit
karyate hyavashah karma
karyate avashya karma
sarva prakriti jair gunai.
sarva prakriti jair gunai.
Very interesting. Krishna is saying, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati. Even for a moment, the jiva cannot sit quiet. He has to do action. The soul by nature is active. He cannot be in inactive state. Avashaha karma, helplessly he will be pushed to action. In this world, Prakriti, the three modes, they are forcing the jiva to act. And in the purified state also, Jiva, who is called Anandamayo Abhyasat, he is active in spiritual activities in service to the Lord. But here especially it is told in the embodied state, in the conditioned state, he is forced to act. Read the translation.
Let others do, Prabhuji. Already I have read.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I can do
Give
Prabhuji.
chance.
Yeah.
Everyone is forced to act
I'm
helplessly.
happy that today people are themselves asking others to do, and this could be the better way to do.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Srinivas Prabhu. Everyone is.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
Not even for a moment. So Arjuna, you don't have an option of not doing action. Why? Because the reason is because you cannot be quiet, especially in the conditioned state. A jiva cannot be in inactive state. He will be forced to work. Prabhupada says it's not a question of embodied life, it's the nature of the soul. As I was telling, in the liberated state also, soul is very active, spiritually very active. It's a mistaken understanding to say that after liberation, the soul loses its identity, individuality, and there is no action. No. There is, in fact, so many varieties of activities, but all on the motive of pleasing Krishna. Prabhupada says,
Say rest in peace, Prabhu. I don't know where that came from. The general people.
the rest in peace.
Somebody dies, they say, may the
They
soul
say,
rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah, the rest in peace. I also don't know what type of peace they are referring
How that
to.
came from, I don't know.
Yeah. It could be meaning the incomplete understanding. That's true. But actually to say he is active. He doesn't have material troubles. That way he has attained Shanti. Like in the earlier chapter also, there was promise of Shanti, which Krishna spoke. What does that Shanti mean? There are no material disturbances. But the activities in spiritual sphere, they are inspired by the service to Krishna, the desire to serve Krishna. There are no more disturbances. In fact, that's the perfection of the peace, that is to serve Krishna. That's a higher happiness. See, peace is like stage 0. And seva, service is like positive. Yeah, that's higher than Shanti. Yes. So those who have incomplete understanding, they may say, yeah, let's just attain this stage 0. But those who have evolved understanding, they will understand this. Like Yashoda Devi, she is so much in anxiety. Oh, Krishna, where he goes, I don't know where he steps. He doesn't eat properly. There are so many horny animals here, pricking thorns here. She's in anxiety. This child, so Komala he is, so soft he is. So she's in tremendous anxiety. So many demons are coming, like this. So she is in the perfection, actually, to say. One may wonder, I don't want so much anxiety, but this is highest of happiness. It's a samadhi, the highest samadhi, Yashoda. So that's the perfection of peace. Okay. So Prabhupada tells something more about the soul's active nature. Read this, Prabhu.
The spirit soul has to be engaged in the good work of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it will be engaged in occupation of dictated by illusory energy, in contract with material energy. The spirit soul acquires material modes, and to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage the prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras. But if the soul is engaged in his natural function of Krishna consciousness, whatever he is able to do is good for him.
Good for him. See, very interesting here. If we don't become active for service of Krishna, we will be forced to become active by Maya, by material energy. So better become active for service of Krishna. So that's the point here told. Prabhupada says, anything which we do in Krishna consciousness is eternally good for that soul. He quotes a Bhagavatam verse which tells about the glory of even momentary practice of devotional service, even immature practice of devotional service because it gives eternal results. So the point is, sannyasa is read this part, the last highlighted part. The sannyasa
Therefore, sannyasa or any purificatory process is to help to reach the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna consciousness, without which everything is considered as a failure.
So sannyasa or jnana yoga, please equate here sannyasa with jnana yoga. Okay, so that jnana yoga, it is for what purpose? Ultimately to reach bhakti yoga. Is it not? So if one is able, he has gotten an opportunity in karma yoga step itself, he is able to dedicate his activities for pleasing Krishna. That is, in fact, wonderful, right? So Prabhupada is pointing this out. He is also attempting the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna conscious, the karma yogi, and sannyasi also. So one should see this common goal. One should not become confused or like this. So the point here is what is better. Now Krishna will start explaining what is the danger in the first type of person. The first type of person who has taken to artificial renunciation. Krishna, in fact, he in fact labels such a person who has taken to artificial renunciation as a mithyachari, false actor, cheater, pretender. That's the word, mithyachari. So the shloka says, karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharasa uchyate. Krishna is saying here, on the other side, if a person karmendriyani samyamya, he is externally, karmendriyas he has controlled. He has controlled his senses, which are external. But manasa smaran, by his mind, he is thinking about what? Indriyarthan. Indriyartha means, long back it has come.
Sense object.
Sense object. The desired goal of senses, that is sense object. So what it means, from the senses, you have controlled to pursue the sense object, but the mind is constantly thinking about sense object. It's thinking about material enjoyment. Such a person is vimudhatma. Is called mithyachara. Very strong word. He's a cheater, oh Arjuna. Do not become such a cheater. Don't say that you will become a beggar, because you don't have that purification in the heart. If you go to beg, in your heart, you will always have Kshatriya spirit. And there, if someone doesn't give you bhiksha, you will take out your sword. You will be a cheater, O Arjuna, in the disguise of beggar, in the disguise of a sannyasi. Don't attempt such artificial renunciation. Read the translation, Prabhu.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called pretender.
Pretender. So a pretender is one who has actually doesn't have, he has externally accepted the form of renunciation, but internally there are so many sense desires. There are so many pushings to act for enjoyment. He cannot stop, There are many, many examples of this. Prabhupada says in one lecture, he used to see very near to his home, there used to be a person who used to have saffron-clad dress in the daytime. He would sit in the temple and he would collect some donations, like that. And at the end of the day, he would change his dress into a civil dress. He would go the whole night, Prabhupada says, maybe for some enjoyment. And again, he would come in the morning, he would change to his sadhu dress. The sadhu dress is like a profession for him. He's cheating, is it not? So such kind of artificial renunciation is actually a great disruption in the society. Is it not? You will see sometimes in this photo, I just got this photo. This person has some bad habits, holding in his hand and things like that. But he's externally showing himself as a sadhu. Such a person is called pretender. See, please do not mistake a sincere sadhaka here. A sincere sadhaka, he has an aspiration to become pure, but he is struggling with his desires. He is endeavoring sincere. But a pretender is someone who doesn't desire to, he doesn't have sincere motive. He doesn't aspire to become pure. He, in fact, very secretly maintains his program of sense enjoyment. Is it not? Sometimes you will see it becomes such a great loss of faith. People, when such a thing comes to public, and it because so many people actually lose respect for spiritual path, actually, is it not? So do not become such a pretender, O Arjuna. See this highlighted part?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
I have one doubt, Prabhuji. These Naga sadhus who actually follow Shiva, they also show some type of bad habits, Prabhuji. I don't know. They, what is that, ganja or something they say.
Correct.
They consume it, and then so many things they do, but they believe that is the way actually how Shiva lives. But their ultimate goal is actually nirvana only.
Nirvana only, yeah. So what are they called?
Exactly, yeah. So, is it really like they are living a life of a sadhu?
Yeah. So actually, in their own understanding of spiritual path itself, there are those practices, which is actually not true. That's not genuine. So they have a very wrong understanding that by taking intoxication, which they consider as the Prasad of Lord Shiva, or maybe a sadhana, I don't know what is that called. And they take to ganja, they take to bhang, and many things like that. So it's a wrong understanding. In one sense, it's not a complete spiritual knowledge, we can say. But what we are talking here is someone who is following a proper spiritual path. He has adapted the form of renunciation in a proper spiritual path, but internally he has no sincere desire to become pure. In fact, he is planning, devising ways and means to engage in material enjoyment, sometimes even breaking the social norms. Is it? That is what he is talking about. Because Arjuna, he is accepting, he's thinking of accepting this role of sannyasi. Is it not? Right? Whereas he is a grihastha, he is a fighter, he is a kshatriya. So in that boundary of proper understanding, that is varnashrama, that is being taught here. Are you getting, Prabhu? In that Naga,
yes, Prabhu,
there is not a proper understanding yet.
Got it, Prabhu. Thank you very
much.
Srinivas, read this,
but he who makes a show of being yogi while actually searching for objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater. Even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy, his knowledge has no value, because the effects of such sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever.
One of the very important qualities a sadhaka should have is honesty. Honesty, humility, and honesty. So, in other words, it's also called simplicity.
Honesty and
humility, submission. So he should be honest with what his state is, what is his impurity, his impure consciousness. So honesty is very important. In fact, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in another context, he told simplicity as the basic quality of a devotee. What does simplicity mean? How he defines simplicity? Simplicity means no duplicity, no dishonest. So very important, actually. One should be honest and one should be submissive and try to follow the instructions of the Guru, not make a show of, not make a arrogance or like that. So now Krishna will say, what is better, Arjuna, is this. Do not become pretender. What is better? Text 7 says, Yes, Tvindriyani Manasa.
Visvindriyani Manasa.
Niyamya Rabhate Arjuna.
Niyamārabhya Arjuna.
Karmendriyai Karma Yogam.
Karmendriya Karma Yogam.
Asakta sa Vishishyate.
Asakta Vishishyate.
So Vishishyate means better. So what is better? What is better? Karma Yoga is better, Arjuna. Not Jnana Yoga or Sannyasa. Arjuna, Karma Yoga is better. So what I should do? Yes, to Indriyani Manasa Niyamya. Control mind and senses. Sincerely try to control senses and mind and engage senses by Karma Yoga. And by that you will develop asakta. Asakta means no attachment. Sakta means attachment. Asakta means too much attachment, excessive attachment. Asakta means
no capability.
Without attachment.
no attachment. No. Sakta, asakta. Asakta means too much sakta. Like in the earlier one shloka also it came apuryamanam. Fully, it is so full. It's a superlative degree of fullness. Similarly, asakta means superlative degree of attachment, excessive attachment. Asakta means no attachment. So by that karma yoga, you will become asakta. See the word-to-word meaning of asakta?
Without attachment.
So that is better for you, Arjuna. So control your mind and senses and engage by karma yoga. Read the translation.
On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga, that is Krishna consciousness, without attachment, he is by far superior.
By far superior. So do not try to renounce prematurely. There is a stage when a person very naturally he renounces. He doesn't need to endeavor. He is not even conscious of it because he is so absorbed in superior activities that he naturally renounces. So renunciation in bhakti is stemming from great desire to serve Krishna. It is not stemming from frustration of this world or fear of engaging in this world. No. We should understand this. In the other paths, renunciation is stemming from the desire of fear of material reactions. Oh, if I act in this world and I will get so much of bondage, karma bandhana, janjat, sansar, such kind of negative outlook is there. But a devotional outlook is that actually in connection to Krishna, everything is progressive. But when one has a great desire to serve Krishna, then he may take to the path of sannyasa in bhakti, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took, like 6 Goswamis took, like Srila Prabhupada took. Very recently we had that day acceptance of sannyas by Srila Prabhupada. Is it not? That day had come just within this 1 week. So Srila Prabhupada, he was already a sannyasi. Actually, he was doing so much, but he was constantly inspired by his guru in his dreams. Take to sannyas, take to sannyas, take to sannyas. Why? Because he can perform, he can in fact preach more and better. Why did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take sannyas? Was he upset with his wife? In fact, such an obedient wife, such a faithful wife. Was he frustrated with his family relations? Oh, such a loving circle of devotees. They are all devotees. His mother is,
Okay, battery is now.
So, like this, one should understand that renunciation in bhakti is not because of fear of engaging in this world. It is stemming from the desire to serve Krishna more, better. No? So one should not mistake here renunciation. Oh, this renunciation is, what is renunciation in Krishna? No, that's not the renunciation. That's a, here the renunciation is told is in a not in a devotional connection. There is no connection to devotional service in this kind of sannyas. So Prabhupada says in a very interesting this purport, he highlights few very interesting things. He says that actually for Arjuna, who was a grihastha and he was a kshatriya, there were both the duties for him. But what was he trying to become? He was trying to become a sannyasi. That is not congenial for him. So Prabhupada says here, for self-realization, read this.
For self-realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment. And in that way, make a progress.
So a statement before this may be interesting. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. See this. So it's not about ashrama, it is about consciousness. So Prabhupada says that in general, a person is told that, what is he told? Cultivate sense control and do your duties and serve Krishna. So Prabhupada says a sincere person. Read this, Prabhu. A sincere person.
A sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat innocent public. A sincere sweeper.
This is a golden statement, one of the very powerful statements of Prabhupada's way of explanation. A sincere
sweeper in the street is far better than a charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living.
Actually, person who is posing himself as a great yogi or great, he's doing meditation, he's in samadhi, but in his mind he's constantly scheming for material enjoyment, even to the extent of immorality. Such a person, he is viewed by Krishna far inferior compared to someone who is honestly doing his profession of sweeping the road to temple, sweeping, he's performing his duties, he's sincerely doing his duty, and he is offering his pranams, he's offering his consciousness to Krishna, his fruits of action to Krishna. Such a person is far greater in the eyes of Lord. See, such a contrast. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than charlatan. Charlatan means cheater. Charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. He considers that sadhu, actions as profession for a livelihood. It's no more a spiritual pursuance for. So Krishna says, we'll just end in few minutes. Text will end at text shloka number 9. That will conclude this thing. Text 8. Niyatam kuru karmatvam.
Niyatam kuru karmatvam.
Karma jyayo hya karmanaha.
Karma jyayo hya karmanaha.
Sharira yatra pichate.
Sharira yatra pichate.
Na prasidhyet akarmana. Hey Arjuna, therefore do niyatam karma, that is prescribed duties. Kuru means do. You should do your prescribed duties, O Arjuna. Karma jyayo hya karmanaha. Akarma means inaction. So karma, your duties are better than inaction, that is sannyasa. Sharira yatra pichate. Sharira yatra means maintaining the body. Even to maintain the body, one has to perform some actions. Is it not? One has to work, at least to maintain his living. Read the translation.
Yeah. Perform your prescribed duty. For doing so, it is better than not working.
Yes.
One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
So what is Krishna's instruction here is Nishkama Karma. Do duties, do not be attached to your results, but be dutiful. That's the essential instruction. So he is comparing often with the false renunciation in this. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, do not become a meditator. You have duties as a Kshatriya, as a Grihastha, as a householder, and as a military general. So do them. Usually there are duties given because Jiva, he tends to do activities as his mind dictates. So to regulate one's actions, the Shastras prescribe duties. So Prabhupada says here, such activities, read this, Prabhu.
Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture.
So you may notice this, that no true religious path encourages renunciation for maintenance. It has become, it becomes a farce. It becomes such a pathetic situation, actually, when a person, actually that has become like that. People take to such a false show of religion. They feel this is an easy way to live life. Prabhupada in one of the purports in Srimad Bhagavatam says that how a person who takes the renunciation has great responsibility. Like 6 Goswamis, like great Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, like Srila Prabhupada himself, they had great response. They performed such great contributions they gave to the society. So Prabhupada says, anyone who is, read this.
Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed for the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so, through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become a so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at the cost of others.
So one should purify that propensity for sense gratification by being dutiful, becoming dutiful. So that duty spirit, kartavya buddhi, is very important actually. So till now he was speaking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Now Krishna elevates that understanding into from detached action, he takes it to the higher action. What is that higher? We saw so many actions, no?
Jnana Yoga?
Jnana Yoga is inaction. That is
Bhakti
Bhakti Yoga, devotional action. So here he gives a drop of such Bhakti Yoga. Yajnarthat karmano nyatra.
Yajnarthat karmano yantra.
Loko yam karma bandhana.
Loko yam karma bandhana.
Tadartham karma kaunteya.
Tadartham karma kaunteya.
Mukta sangha samachara.
Mukta sangha samachara.
So he's saying, hey Arjuna, hey Kaunteya, therefore do your activities for what principle? For the principle of yajna. Yajna arthat karmanaha. Do your activities for the purpose of yajna. Now here yajna, what does yajna mean? Yajna means some sacrifice, right? Some ritual. Actually, yeah, that is true. Ritual, yajna is ritual. But ultimate purpose of that ritual or yajna is to please Lord. As told in the Vedas, yajna is another name of Lord Vishnu himself. Yajno vai Vishnu. In the Vishnu Sahasranama, this word comes. Yajneshaha, Yajni, Yajnabhuk. Like this, there are many words among the names of Lord Vishnu. Yajna, Yajni, Yajneshwara. Like that. So the point is, do your activities for the purpose of yajna. That itself shows for the purpose of the Supreme Lord, for pleasing the Supreme Lord. That is devotional action. Otherwise, any other activity you do, it will make you fall into karma bandhanaha. Anyatra, karma bandhanaha. It will bind you in this world, O Kaunteya. Therefore, tadartham karma Kaunteya. Therefore, do the activities for that purpose. What purpose? For a spiritual purpose, for the purpose of yajna, for the ultimate purpose of pleasing Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. That will make you freed, mukta. You will attain mukti from this world's bindings, sangha, that is the modes actually. So do such actions perfectly, samachara. Read the translation. This is the last shloka for today. Work done.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in his material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage.
Bondage. So Prabhupada here clearly says sacrifice for Vishnu. So Prabhupada says yajna means Lord Vishnu. Because the goal of all sacrifices is Lord Vishnu. He is the purpose. The purpose of all performances is satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The Vedas say yajno vai Vishnu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs yajna or directly serves Lord Vishnu. In other words, Krishna consciousness is also yajna, because one performs Krishna consciousness for the pleasure of Krishna. We may know that Prabhupada will point that out. Sankirtan Yajna will soon come. So this is the art of performing actions in this world. What is the art? Do your actions for pleasing Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. This is the art of living in this world. There can be many principles told as art of living in this world. But real art of living is to dedicate one's activities for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. Read this highlighted part, Prabhu.
This is a great art of doing work. And in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna, or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work.
So this yajna, which will be elaborated in the next section, it is a very sacred principle. It's a very interesting thing. A jiva who is hooked onto selfishness at the bodily level, he's selfish, he's fully in bodily consciousness. From there, he's taken to selflessness or selfishness at the spiritual level, which is to serve Lord Vishnu. That's the true selfishness, is it not? So from selfishness to selflessness, the path is yajna. The path is told as yajna. Yajna is the dharma setu, actually. Setu means bridge. So one is taken from this consciousness of selfish enjoyment, bodily enjoyment, to service of Supreme Lord. And this principle is explained by Krishna from 10th shloka onwards, which forms the next section. So today we saw this particular chapter, third chapter, we have started it, in which we have seen the first section. We have taken time in understanding the question of Arjuna's question, which was very, very relevant for all of us, whether we should act in this world or we should renounce, act or renounce, or renunciation of work or work in devotion. That's answered in this first 9 shlokas. And going ahead, we will see about the Karma Kanda and many other parts. So I expect that there will be a better pace, because the principles coming are much simpler. So far we had a lot of abstract concepts, so it took little time. So going ahead, we'll gain more pace and we will continue next Monday when we meet.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can you share that yoga ladder pictures and all, Prabhuji, for us?
Yoga ladder. Yoga ladder.
Or you are teaching that, then it will be good for us to when we revise, Prabhuji.
Yoga ladder, you ask, no?
No, Prabhuji. Entire presentation what you are making.
Presentation.
Chapter 2.
Okay. You want the presentation?
Yes.
Yes,
presentation. Actually, what I'm doing, I'm also revising the slides. I have some old slides which I did for earlier, I think of your group only. But now I'm revising it differently. I will surely share the whole thing. I will do it at the end of the unit. Okay. Otherwise, again, I will be editing and doing it. My request to you is, as I told earlier, there are very nice documents of study by many wonderful devotees. I have given you all the reading materials, all that, but they lay as they are unless we note it in our own writings, in our books, or we make it, as we learn, try to mark that, and that helps you in, because what we learn in our own handwritings stays with us a lot. At least this has been my experience. So try to make that effort. I will surely share. There is nothing, it's all learned from other devotees. I will share that whole thing. I'm just making, in the process of making the further steps. Okay, Mataji? Yeah. I hope it's okay. Okay, so we will meet Monday. So very soon we will disclose the dates of Shloka test. Be prepared, and once we have it, do not haste. Give your slots well in time. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavadgita ki. Hare
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu,
Ma,
Krishna.
Shloka is Santa.